Alan Dershowitz, why I'm becoming a Republican. I am so glad that this is happening because, Alan, it was, I don't know, it was an awkward dance for you at times with those Democrats. Welcome back. How does it feel?
Well, it's awkward for me now, too, because I support a lot of Democratic programs. I support a woman's right to choose under most circumstances. I support gay rights. I support, the environment, many things that Democrats support, but I cannot abide its foreign policy and its anti-Israel and anti-Semitic aspects, and the fact that radicals have taken over the party, and that they elected in New Jersey a member of Congress who was a radical anti-American. They're about to nominate in Michigan somebody who campaigns with an equivalent of Adolf Hitler, Piker, who is an overt anti-Semite. He might as well wear a swastika. And so I can't be associated with parties like that. And I can't be associated with my former colleague, Liz Warren, who makes such a fool of herself every time she goes and interrogates people, as she tried to do today in front of Congress. She's the rudest, nastiest person in the Senate, and that's a very, very low threshold. She was very when she was at Harvard, but put her in the Senate, give her a role in government, and her true self comes out.
Well, I'm glad that all of this has happened, and I know you got some other views there, but hey, Big Ten, right? You were on fire. This has been percolating for a long time. 2 years ago, here you are speaking to a guy named Zev Brenner. Take a look.
I was so unhappy. It was the most anti-Jewish, anti-Israel, anti-Zionist convention I have experienced, and I have been watching conventions since 1952. I was disgusted at the Democratic National Convention, absolutely disgusted.
We're speaking with Harvard Law Professor Emeritus Alan Dershowitz. So are you ready to leave the Democratic Party?
Democratic Party. I am no longer a Democrat.
All right, well, that was back then. You were no longer a Democrat, but now you're becoming a Republican, all right? That's a bigger move, and you mentioned some of the issues that you think may not be compatible. I'm not so sure. I think there's room. Tell us why you're taking the next step.
Well, first, I want to influence the Republican Party. I want to move them more toward the center, which they've done a good job on. They've done a better job marginalizing the Tucker Carlsons and the other extremists than the Democrats have done. But if I'm a member of the party, and I contribute to candidates, I'm going to try to have an influence on moving the Republicans a little closer to the center and away from the extremes. But what the Democrats have done drove me not only away from the Democratic Party, but I can no longer be an independent, because for me, at least, being an independent in an age when there's so much hatred is a cop-out. And so I decided I had to, if I could be a Republican with an asterisk that says I'm a Republican, but I support this and that and the other thing, I can do that. But registration forms don't allow you to do it. So I had to go whole hog. And I am closer today to the Republicans than I am to the Democrats, which to me is shocking, because I've been a Democrat since I was like 14 years old.
But Professor, there was a time, especially in 2020, when you would say all the time, like, and this is coming from a liberal Democrat, and you would voice fairness for President Trump. And at one point, I kind of sensed, it might have been ESP or maybe, that you were losing confidence in that talking point. Like, it was almost more marketing. And I'm not saying you lack intent. You know what I mean? You were struggling even back then, right? A little bit?
Yeah. I told President Trump when he asked me to represent him that, I didn't vote for him in the election against Hillary Clinton. I voted for Hillary Clinton. And I said, that probably won't my representation of you. But now this is not about him or not about the party. It's about me. I cannot be associated with Democrats in any way. And I want to see them defeated. I want to see the Republicans maintain control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency. That would be better for America.
Alan Dershowitz, wow, this is a big deal, and it's a big day. I love it. Check it out in the Wall Street Journal and beyond. Alan Dershowitz, he's becoming a Republican. Thank you, sir, and congratulations. We'll be right back.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.